Hi gentlemen, these are your notes for Unit 2, Day 6 of Algebra 1. If you would like to see the warm-up, review question, or any homework questions we covered in today's class, just look at the finish notes. Today we are going to talk about inductive reasoning and finding the next term in a pattern. So inductive reasoning is reasoning that you're going to use your intuition for. So to find the next term in a pattern, let's look at number 1. We have 3, 6, 12, 24, 48. So if we wanted to find the next term in that pattern, we would look at our skills and we would say, okay, how do I go from 3 to 6? Well, you could add 3 to go from 3 to 6. Well, how do I go from 6 to 12? I don't add 3, so adding 3 no longer works. So the pattern has to be the same the entire time as you move. So to go from 3 to 6, you could also multiply by 2. Is that the same pattern here to go from 6 to 12? Yes, you multiply by 2. From 12 to 24, you would multiply by 2. To go from 24 to 48, you would multiply by 2. So to get to the next term in the pattern, after 48, you would take 48 times 2, which would give you 96. So the next term in that pattern would be 96. A pattern where you are multiplying by the same number each time, that's called a geometric sequence. It has a special name. Let's look at our next pattern. 1, 8, 15, 22, 29. So is there some sort of pattern here? Well, to go from 1 to 8, one way we could do it is we could add 7. To go from 8 to 15, we would add 7. 15 to 22, we would add 7. 22 to 29, we would add 7. So I think that the next term in this pattern would be adding 7 again, and we would get 36 for the next term in our pattern. Since we were adding 7 each time, when you are adding the same number each time, that also has a special name. It's called an arithmetic sequence. So if you multiply by the same number each time, it's called a geometric sequence. If you add the same number each time, it's called an arithmetic sequence. Let's look at the next one. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. This sequence has a special name. It's the Fibonacci sequence. And some of you guys might have heard of this before. It occurs a lot in nature. It's how pine trees or things that occur in a circular pattern create their spirals. So 1, 1, 2. Well, I could do 1 times 1 and I get to 1. Or 1 divided by 1 and I get to 1, but that doesn't work for the next pattern. So multiplying by 1 and dividing by 1 are out. This is an interesting pattern because in order to generate it, you have to look at the two terms that come before it. So what's 1 plus 1? Well, that would generate the 2. And then if I looked at the 1 and the 2, what's 1 plus 2? That generates the 3. And then if I look at the 2 plus the 3, that generates the next term, 5. Or if I look at the 3 plus the 5, that generates the next term, 8. And the 5 plus the 8 generates the 13. So what's going to be the next term? Well, to generate it, I would need to take the 2 previous terms and add them together. And 8 plus 13 is 21. So the next term in that sequence would be 21. Let's look at our next pattern. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Well, one way to go from 1 to 4 is we could add 3. To go from 4 to 9, you don't add 3, you add 5. To go from 9 to 16, you would add 7. 16 to 25, you would add 9. 25 to 36, you would add 11. There's a pattern on what you're adding. 3, 5, 7, 9. What would I add next? I would add 13. And 36 plus 13 makes 49. So the next term in that sequence would be 49. Do you see a different way to generate that? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. What are all of those numbers? They're all perfect squareds. They're 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, and then that last term was 7 squared. So they're also perfect squares. All right, you guys try to find the next term in these patterns. You can pause the video and try. All right, on that first one, to go from 2 to 5, you would add 3. 5 to 7, you would add 2. 7 to 12, add 5. 12 to 19, add 7. 19 to 31, add 12. So to get to the next term, you are adding the two previous terms. 2 plus 5 is 7. 5 plus 7 is 12, and so on and so forth. So to find the next term, I'm going to take 19 plus 31, which is 50. So my next term would be 50. The next guy, each time I'm dividing by 3. So if I divide by 3 each time, 127 divided by 3 is the same thing as 1 over 27 times 1 over 3, which is 1 over 81. On the next one, you're subtracting 7 each time, or you're adding negative 7, and so the next number would be negative 12. All right, so gentlemen, our next class, we're going to have a test on solving our multi-step equations and solving our word problems. So great ways to study are to review all of the notes that you took. So review all your notes from class. You can review my finished notes from class. You can download my finished notes from class. They're posted under each day at the end of each day in the modules underneath the finished notes. So you can review the finished notes. You can review the video notes. So if you need to, you can watch any of the videos from the notes. And again, those are posted in the modules. I would review all of your exit tickets. And again, if you want to see my comments on your exit tickets, you would have to click on the assignment again and look at submission and rubrics, or review the assignment and make sure that it has my markings on it. I would review all of your homework. I would complete any review activities. So anything that we did in class today to review, I would complete those again. And your review assignment. So the assignment from the book that's assigned for homework today, I would make sure you complete that as well. And then make sure you're studying with the buddy. It's great to study with someone else so you talk about the math as you're doing it. So gentlemen, your homework is the review problem set on page 163 through